don't hurt me no more. Baby, don't hurt me no more.
Okay, the music gets me pumped up. But hi everyone, wow, am I so excited to be here at Laracon AU and just Australia in general. This is my first time traveling to Australia, and yeah, it's been worth it, even though I had 22 hours travel to get here, and I'm terrified of the huge birds, huge spiders, the leaves that are on the ground that will try to kill me. But it's been a great time. At least everyone here is safe, even though outside isn't. Yeah, bin chickens, everything. But I'm here to shake things up a little bit and to focus on the front end side of things, even though a lot of talks are generally back end focused because this is a Laravel and PHP conference. But before diving straight into it, let's do a quick introduction, even though Michael did such a great job. But my name is Leah Thompson, and I go as Leah T Codes on social media. I am a DevRel engineer at Laravel, like Michael said. So what that means is I'm on the developer relations team, so I get to do cool things like be here, so I get to go to conferences and give talks and just connect with the Laravel community. But I also do a lot of developer work still. So I still do a lot of front-end engineering and building out marketing sites, such as the Laracon updated site and the Nightwatch marketing pages, and then I'll talk about some of my other work too. But my path into tech isn't the traditional one. So I did not major in computer science. I actually majored in mathematics, which I know a lot of people hate math, but I love math. And once I graduated from college, I ended up teaching as a high school geometry teacher for a year and a half before quitting and getting into full stack web development. And whenever I did get into tech, I ended up in more of the JavaScript world. So my first two and a half years in tech were in JavaScript mainly, and mainly focused on the front end side of things too. It wasn't until last year, whenever my current employer at the time switched from a Next.js, Node.js backend to Laravel and PHP, that I started kind of dabbling with Laravel, and it was a month after I started. I started because I get to do more Next.js, and we switched to Laravel and PHP. And around that time was Laracon US in Dallas last year, Dallas, Texas. So I decided to apply for a Laravel's scholarship for a ticket to Laracon US, because I was like, surely I won't win. So I wanted to worry about traveling or anything, but I might as well apply to just try. And I won. So I won the ticket to go to Laracon US Dallas last year. And at that time, I didn't really know any Laravel or PHP. So I had started learning it a little bit, and I didn't finish the Laravel bootcamp, the original one that Jess Archer wrote, until the night before Laracon US. So I was doing it just so I kind of knew what was going on. I thought people would be able to sniff the JavaScript on me, that no one would want to talk to me. I was terrified. So these people are going to hate me. And everyone was so nice. It's the most welcoming community. And it just made me want to be a part of it. And then there were also crazy talks, like Joe Dixon flew a drone on stage using Laravel Reverb. Who does that? You know? I was I want to be like that. So I fully bought in to Laravel as a framework and into the community, and I just started building things with it, and I ended up where I am now, here on stage in front of you all and working at Laravel. Yeah. So that kind of just leads us into me working at Laravel. So I started at Laravel in March, and at Laracon US, like Michael said, I kind of did a summary of my first 3 to 4 months at Laravel, which I built out the Laracon US site, and then I built out the Nightwatch marketing pages. So about 4 months or 3 months in at that time, I'd already shipped 2 kind of big marketing sites. So I'm like, okay, I got this, you know. And then Laracon US comes up. And I was speaking at Laracon US, and I figured, okay, we'll ship like 1 marketing site, right? But why ship 1 when you can ship 2? So during Laracon US, I was working on the community and blog sites. And if we look at the blog, so this is a screenshot of the blog homepage. And sometimes when I see designs like this, it's easy to kind of look at it and freak out a little bit, like, okay, how do I go from 0 to this, right? How do I completely start from nothing and build up to this within a specific time frame that normally is pretty tight? And this is also applicable when you don't even have a design, right? Whenever you're just trying to think of like, okay, I want to build a website that my users can connect to, that will evoke some kind of emotion within them, that they'll feel excitement or joy whenever they see it. And what helps me is kind of breaking it down into these different steps. So I use this whenever I'm given a Figma and I want to start building it out. So first I start with the spacing and padding. So the spacing and padding, once you get that in, it helps with the clarity. So already it's easier for your users to kind of digest what's on the page. It's more spread out. You're utilizing more of the like prime real estate that you have with that web page. So it already feels like you have more intention. Then just adding in the fonts. So bringing in any external fonts you want to use, but not just like font family, but also anything with typography. So any of the font weights, any font styling like that. And then layering. So what you already have once you have spacing and padding, which is alignment as well, you kind of have that as your background. And then layering is adding stuff on top of that. So adding any gradients or like box shadows or anything that's just going to stack on top of what you already have to kind of add dimensionality to your website so it's not just flat. A fun element or something weird. So something weird, it doesn't have to be something like creepy or strange, but just something you wouldn't normally see, something that is just going to make your website pop or have a little bit of oomph. And then the last is just animation and interaction, which could be as simple as just hover effects. So let's kind of look at that by doing a demo. So we're going to build this out. Okay. And I'm going to go to blog. Ignore all the million files. Okay, so here we're going to start with the steps. So I have them over here on the right. So we're going to do, number 1 is spacing and padding. So we're going to add in our spacing and padding. Okay, so I'm going to go down to this one. I do have raycast code snippet set up, so that's what I'll be doing. So blog main article, and we're going to add our fonts here. Oops, 1 second. I think it's adding it for, oh, that's fonts. One second. 0. There we go. Okay. Forgot I 0 indexed it. Okay, so blog, add bottom padding. So we're doing this, and then I'm getting my grid layout for the, for the bottom here. So that's what we're seeing that I just added. This is the same thing, but all the padding, all the cells are ripped out. So I just added in for the bottom. Now we're going to go up top and add the same thing here. So I have to blog, main article, add padding, whole article. So I'm going to take that, squash it, move that, and then, okay. So this just added the same article we already had, which is the big one at the top here. and it just added the padding to it. So instead, before, when all this text was squished to the image, now it's spread out. So already we're using kind of more space, except I do have to go into my blog post at the bottom. So the articles at the bottom are all using this one component. So I do need to go into this and add my padding. It's this whole div doing that. Okay. And, okay, so now our content is more spread out. It's easier to read. We're using up more of the page. So let's go ahead and add our fonts now. Let's go to our fonts. So up here for the body, I'm going to blog add body fonts, and this is going to add font sans, which that I already have set up to use instrument sans. I've already imported it and brought that in, and then I'm just setting some font color. And then for the specific elements within the article, like for the category, I'm going to add some font styling as well. So I'm going to add blog category font. Let's blog add category font. Same thing here. I keep forgetting add, which is just adding my color, the font size, and then the font weight. I have to go down here and do the same thing for the title. Blog add title font. Oop. This is whole H2. Same thing, one more. Okay, and then if we look, we notice that we see the font updated up here. I have to do the same thing for the individual post at the bottom. So if we go to the blog post, I think this one's a whole article. So I'm going to take this whole article, blog, add post fonts. So again, we have the same article. All it added was the same kind of text styling for the individual elements, like for where we're showing the author, the excerpt, etc. And now we have our fonts. One second. That one needs to be decreased a little bit. Okay, now we have our font. So already we're halfway there with creating the web page anyway. But now let's get into the fun side of things. So let's get into the layering. So for the layering for this, there really isn't like a lot that we're doing. We're just going to add a box shadow to our large image at the top. So I can close up. Okay, so for this, let us add our shadow. So I already have this shadow I created in my CSS file. So now I just add it here. And if we look, we see our, I don't have to zoom in that much, sorry. You see our shadow here on the image. This just makes it look not as flat. Like already, it looks like the image is kind of coming off the page. So it's more engaging for your users. It's more likely to catch their eye. And now let's get into kind of the fun element or something weird. For me, I say the kind of like extended grid layout for this is kind of like the funky element. So let's go ahead and add that in. So I'm going to start up here of adding the border for it. So we have blog add container border. Okay. I also have a horizontal rule component that I made, which is the horizontal line that's going to extend to both ends of the view it. So we have that. We're going to scroll down to add it down here. I'm going to uncomment this out because this is just going to add 48 pixels of space in between these two horizontal rules. And then I'm going to add this styling here for the divide onto our bottom kind of article container. And now this is where we're at, right? So just think of from just like padding alignment, fonts, from there to this, like how much better this looks and how much more your users are to kind of like remember your website or feel some kind of emotion looking at your website compared to just having the basics. But we can also add in our interactivity, right? So the last step is animation and interaction, which for that we're not even going to do some kind of over-the-top animation. For this, we're just going to have hover effects. So for this one, right here, we are going to have blog, add hover for the BG, so that the background would turn white on hover. And then for the category text, we are going to add a hover effect as well. So we have blog add hover orange. And then I will go ahead and show that, but we have that on others. So now when we hover over this, we see that the customer story, which is the category text up top, is just changing to an orange color. And then we are just going to do the same thing for the individual post at the bottom. So we are going to add group here and then blog add hover BG, and then for the category, remove the duplicate transition colors. Okay, and there we go. And just like that, we built out the blog homepage. Of course, development wasn't actually quite that quick, but that just shows you how easy it is to go from kind of nothing to a like website that has kind of dimensionality, interactivity, different things that will draw your users' attention and kind of leave a lasting impression compared to just a like basic website, right? And that also wrapped up me working on the blog and community website, which then led into week 20 at Laravel. So at that point, I had already shipped 4 sites in 4 months. So I was like, okay, well, surely we're running out of things. Surely we're running out of marketing sites to build. But no, of course not. And since we took down the old Laravel bootcamp, we decided why just make a new Laravel bootcamp when we could make a whole website. So we built Laravel Learn, which has mini courses, so like little mini bite-sized tutorials that you can use to learn Laravel or PHP fundamentals. And it was really special for me to work on this site because of my education background and me using the Laravel bootcamp to get into Laravel. And this is just what it looks like for the course homepage. I'm not going to do a demo of this one just for the sake of time. But I really enjoyed working on Learn. And as I finished that up, I was getting into week 25 at Laravel. So I finished Learn. It launched on a Tuesday. And I was like, okay, I have to get a break now, right? Like it's been full speed. I have to get a break now. But the new generation of Forge was coming. And so they need a new generation for the homepage. So that sounds like a job for the marketing team, right? But I'm the marketing team. I'm the marketing dev. So that means I made the Forge marketing site. So that is the home page, the contact page, those kind of marketing pages for Forge. And this is just a bigger screenshot of the Forge homepage, which when you see that, it's pretty impressive, right? Right now it's static, but you have the animations on the side. There's a bunch going on. And when I first saw that, I was a little scared because I had a really tight deadline. And I panicked a little bit, but then I remembered I had my steps of how to break it down and how to implement it, and I knew that I'd be fine. So let's go ahead and build this out. So I'm going to do a demo for that as well. Let me just dupe and switch branches, and then Forge start. Ignore that. Okay. So here is our Forge homepage right now. It looks exactly like the other one, right? Yeah. Right now we just have our H1, we have our paragraph text, and then we have our buttons, and it looks pretty ugly. So let's fix it. Let's go ahead and do our spacing and padding first. Okay, so I'm going to collapse this div. And then, okay, so it's the same exact div we had before, same exact content, just the HTML content. And then we added padding, so we have px5. And we added any other alignment. So we added like MX auto, some margin top. And this is where we're at now. So a little better than before. We're off the corner, but still not great. Still looks like we're in 1999. So let's add our fonts to it. So for the fonts, I'm going to go up. Oh, actually, I'm going to go to my Forge homepage, and I'm going to add it to, I'm going to pass it to my layout file for this. So it's added to the body. So Forge layout, add font. Yeah, okay. So I added font sends, and then I added tracking -0.2 pixels, which is my letter spacing. And then within this file, I'm going to take my text element, so the H1 and the P tag here, and I am going to add the fonts to them as well. So Forge add, oh, here. There we go. And now if we look, sorry. I know I like go to the slide, I'm like, oh, it's done. It's not. It's not. But now we have our fonts. It's looking a little bit better again, right? Let's get to the fun part. So let's do some layering. So if you notice in here, we have it looks static, but that's actually a video at the bottom. But I'm going to add it in as just a static image first, right? So just to kind of add the layering, and kind of like I would when developing it, we're going to add it just as an image first. So Forge add dashboard image. Okay. Now if we look, we have that, I think I have it as an SVG, but we have that image for the dashboard at the bottom, and then we layered a button on top of it for you to use to watch the video. And then we're also going to add the VPS, the Laravel VPS button up here. So we're going to layer that as well. So Forge add VPS button. Okay. We added that, and now we have our VPS button up top, and then we have the kind of static image for the video or the dashboard and the button at the bottom. So we layered those on top of the existing background we already had, right? So already this is coming together, and we also have a gradient that's on the VPS button. Now let's add the kind of fun element or something weird here. So we're going to add a gradient to the H1. Like saying weird feels like kind of wrong, but it's just subjective, right? I just mean something that's a little different, that would just make your page kind of stand out. So let's add our gradient here. So it added a pricing gradient text, class that I have. I keep hovering with the wrong thing. That I already have in my CSS file. And then we're also going to add, look at it. Just one more thing. Okay, let's see, we're at 4. Oh, no, sorry. Text. Oh, yep, okay. Sorry. So there's one more thing. Forge homepage. Okay, on here we're going to add our selection text styling. So Forge add selection color. So now whenever you select any of the text here, you get this nice kind of Forge green highlight color or selection color, which again is not like anything crazy, but it is something that kind of stands out, right? It's something that's a little unique and feels like special for your users. Now we get to do our animation, which the Forge hero section does have a lot of animation. So let's add that in. Oops, sorry. Okay. So we're going to add our animation, which for this we're bringing in, the animations were made in Unicorn Studio by our lovely product designer, Tilly. And then I just brought it in to the code. So by adding those, we have our animations. So we have the animation, and then they also have mask and gradients that were already created, and I added with that one raycast snippet. And then we also have, we're going to swap out where we had the still image before and now swap it with a GIF, so a video that we are looping. Oops, sorry. So I'm going to collapse that. And then, not blog. Forge, add video. And now we have our video, and we have our animation, and we have our Forge hero section. Okay. And that basically wrapped up me working on the Forge marketing sites, and also kind of wraps up this talk. Hopefully the 5 steps is something that you can take away and use and implement in your day-to-day job, either for work or just when building side projects, whether it's implementing a design that you were given in Figma and building it out, or you're just trying to create a website from scratch, you have no design. And hopefully my story also inspires you and shows you that even if you're very new to something, you never know where you're going to end up in a year. So, thank you.
Well done, Leah. That's your second talk now?
6.
Sixth.
Yeah. Second Laracon
Second
talk.
Laracon talk, though.
I
Yes.
hadn't spoken at any conferences until this year, and now I'm at 6.
Amazing. Well done. Do you have a few more like fun or unexpected elements that you kind of have seen and been inspired by over your journey that you didn't share?
Like fun elements
Yeah.
like to put in. I find now that I'll like look at websites, like I know I did it with the Roblox website. They have this button that is so cool. And I'm like, who am I that I look at a button? I'm like, I really like that button. But I'll see things and I'll like inspect it in the browser console and kind of take the code and put it somewhere.
Yeah.
Like not to use and like as my
Yeah.
own, but to practice, and see how did they do it? How did they do it? And just to kind of like use as a practice of what could I do? Like how could I use that to elevate my own websites?
Amazing. And there's another one, which is gone from me now, but what is it like to be a developer at the intersection of design and engineering?
Ooh. Intersection makes it sound like I'm going to get ran over. I don't know. It's really interesting. Like I really enjoy it, especially it might be different at other companies too, but at Laravel it's really fun because I feel like I get to like collaborate with a lot of people.
Yeah.
I do feel like implementing designs from like Jeremy when I worked on the Nightwatch sites, or Jim when I did Forge, or Tilly on anything product wise. Our designers are so amazing that whenever I even have to like just bring the designs to life, I feel like I'm learning things. Like I look at my website, so I'm like, God, that was ugly. Like I need to go overhaul everything and use like some stuff I picked up just from looking at that every day. And yeah, I mean, that's the main thing. With like engineering, I don't work with like the product engineering teams a lot. It's more so like marketing, me, and design.
Yep. Amazing. Thank you very much, Leah.
Thank you.